Today's quick tip, putting in a lifeline. When you're knitting, especially in a shawl or something that has a design or a lace pattern, a lifeline is a good way to protect yourself from having to rip out and lose stitches if you don't pick them up again correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a darning needle and thread it with a scrap piece of yarn. Now this is a larger size yarn. Typically you want to use a small slick type yarn like cotton or some silk. Some people use dental floss. I find using a yarn a little bit smaller than the yarn I'm knitting with is helpful. So before you make your color change, design change, or you're marking a repeat set, you want to take your darning needle, threaded with your choice of yarn, and slide it through the front of each stitch in your row. Pull the yarn through, continue sliding it in front of each stitch on the needle. You can see how that looks. Continue doing this to the end of the row and pull it through. Now what you've done is you've established a lifeline, and if you have to rip back, you'll have those stitches held correctly. So we're going to quickly purl back, and I'll show you how this works. See, my lifeline is now a row down, and you think, oh no, I've made a mistake in the row I just knit, or you may have gone several rows ahead. You don't want to have to unknit or tink, so what you can do now, if you've established your lifeline, slide your stitches off the needle. You're able to rip back to the point where your lifeline is in place. You'll be able to then pick the stitches back up, correctly oriented on your needle, catching yarn overs or decreases and increases properly. And you're ready to start knitting. If you put a lifeline in every, say, 5 or 10 rows, you'll only have to rip that many back if you've made a mistake within those rows. You won't run the risk of dropping stitches or losing a yarn over or losing a decrease. And this is just a handy way to keep track of, one, where you're at, and two, how your stitches are oriented, so that if you do make a mistake, it's much easier to get back, fix it, and move forward.